Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Dr. Elena Fernandez, internationally recognized as the Positive Mom, a certified trauma-informed success coach, award-winning storyteller, author, and five-time TEDx speaker. Through her platform, thepositivemom.com, she empowers moms to turn pain into purpose and trauma into triumph by embracing emotional healing, storytelling, and intentional motherhood. From humble beginnings in the Dominican Republic to speaking on global stages, Elena's message of resilience and faith has touched millions of lives. Elena, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. I really appreciate it,
Yeah,
Amar. And
anytime.
thank you for having me here.
Anytime. I am super excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take me on a little trip down memory lane to before you started thepositivemom.com. What were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
And the reality is that I was experiencing homelessness with my daughters. At that time, I had two daughters, and I have four now, and all girls. And that was a very dark time. And believe it or not, it is called the Positive Mom, but it came out of a very dark time. I remember being on the ground in the fetal position, just feeling
Wow.
the pavement and the floor, the ground, the cold, hard ground, and just thinking to myself, I don't want to live like this. I
Mm,
don't want to continue. I don't want to go on. Life is too painful and I don't know what to do. And just feeling that sense of hopelessness and defeat and loneliness, deep loneliness. I was, and still I'm an immigrant to the United States, but I had no network. I didn't have family. I didn't have friends. I didn't have a community to rely upon. So I was feeling really alone. And I'm sure that everyone can relate to that feeling of sometimes thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to get out of this situation. And burst of light and inspiration came upon me, and I was able to remember something that happened to me when I was 7 years old. And that memory came as a flash. And I'll explain a little bit of that memory in a little bit. But when I had that memory, I was completely energized and understood that I had to get up from the floor and that I had to fight for my daughters and that I had to become a positive mom. And what happened, just to explain, because it wasn't so simple, it was like a story many years in the making when I was living in the slum in the Dominican Republic. And it was a very extreme situation, extreme poverty. We fetch water in the river to for our daily use. And so we came back home, and usually my little brother and I, he's 2 years younger than me, we would go to the landfill that was right behind where we lived. And in this landfill, we had so much fun. It was, of course, disgusting. I think about it now, I probably wouldn't even be near the landfill right now. But at that time, it was just the place where we found so many things that we found treasures, right? Somebody's trash is another person's treasure. And I saw this magazine, Amar, and it was everything that I ever dreamed of. There were kids there who wore tennis shoes and pre-washed jeans. I think you're too young to remember those. But in the 80s and early 90s, that was the thing.
Pre-live jeans. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look it up. And so I didn't even know they were called that, by the way,
Okay.
but I know now. And so I just saw this visual of what life would look like if you had resources, if you had electricity, if you had a toilet, if you had clothes and things that I didn't have. And so
Yeah.
I turned to my brother and I said, if we learn this language, we can live this life. And
Wow.
that's when I decided to learn English.
Amazing.
Thank you. That was a vision that led me to create my first business, which was a storytelling cardboard puppet theater,
Cool.
to be a hustler as co-writing. I remember kids would surround me and say, write me a love letter, write me a breakup letter, write me a song, write me a poem, write me I want to be friends letter, or I don't want to be friends anymore letter, or a change my mind letter. So I was
Yeah.
the resident writer and tutor, and I use my storytelling and my skills and my nerdiness, I called it at that time, to create things that gave me the income to then at 11 years old enrolled myself in English classes. I had the resources now to do that, and I had to continue paying for it for 3 years until I became an English as a second language teacher in the same center at only 14 years old,
Mm.
then moved to the capital at 15 years old and be able to get bilingual pay, let's call it, to the floor. Back to when I was experiencing homelessness, I was 28 years old. And here I am in the United States, brand new single mom with a 1 and a 2-year-old.
Wow.
What came back to me was that magazine, was this is why I learned English. I get goosebumps still, and I just get moved because it was so real for me to realize that journey started at 7 years old to prepare me to give my children that magazine love.
That's beautiful.
And that propelled me. And in that moment, and this is something that I want the audience to write down, I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have a job. I didn't even have like I didn't know how to drive. That was the situation. I had no idea. I didn't come up with a plan because I had no idea what to do. This was a new country to me, and I didn't have anyone. But I wrote something that I do every single morning, and it's called a to be list. I don't write to do lists. I put things on my calendar. So yes, I organize myself, my tasks, but I write a to be list. Who do I want to be today? How am I going to show up for the people of my life, in my work? And so at that moment, I wrote a to be list. And the first thing was be a positive mom.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. And then I started writing because that was my hustle, right? That's what I
Yeah.
was doing when things were hard and I wanted to manifest a better life. I started writing, and that's what I did. And in writing also helps me process the world, because one thing that I have noticed about me when I'm in pain, I am not a talker, I'm a writer. I write it to make sense of it and to be
Yeah.
able to articulate it. So that's how it started.
I love that. Elena, that is a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I like the to be list a lot. I'm sure you've heard the concept of be, do, have.
Yeah,
First, you have to become the person, then you take the actions before you can have whatever that thing is. And
absolutely.
I love that. I'm a big believer in that. I'd love to fast forward to what the positive mom looks like today. Walk me through, obviously, your ideal customer is moms. It's in the title.
Yeah.
What are the different offers and services? Walk me through the business.
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking that. So today we have the blog, which is how it started.
Okay.
And the blog reaches millions of moms in 168 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing to me how much we need as moms, the support of having our voice be heard, but also having the permission to understand that we matter and that we can make a difference. And that is in any country whatsoever. And that's why I know that learning English was that thing that was appointed for me, because I started writing in the English language and it has taken off. And it was really very quickly that I received my first sponsor in the Positive Mom blog. And that's one of the ways in which I monetize the blog, since you asked me about the business. The first A is for ambassadorship. The second A is for affiliate, and the third A is for ads. So when you have a blog, those are three ways in which you can monetize your blog. And I
Mhm.
started doing that very early on, although I had no idea that I could. Yeah, it was something very interesting. So I was a pioneer in that arena of mom blogs, and I started getting sponsors and working with affiliate marketing and also having ads installed on the site. So it is a free service to the community. So any mom anywhere can access the blog free of charge.
Oh,
And they can subscribe, of course, but that's optional. And many are subscribed, and there are subscribers, like I said, from 168 countries. And basically, that was how it started. Then eventually, there was one time, and this is a little bit of a funny story. In 2008, it didn't start funny, but in 2008, I faced a very major challenge with my business. So I started to monetize and it was going great. And a lot of people get surprised that you can make six figures with a blog and maybe think that was a thing of the past, but it is very possible for anyone. Yeah, and content creation, because I think you can do that with YouTube as well, monetize your YouTube channel, but blogs are very alive. And actually you Google things and you get blog posts all the time. So
yeah.
it's still part of the mix, right? And so I was monetizing my blog and everything was going great. And I was very much overworking. I was very much not taking care of myself and raising my children as a single mom. And I didn't understand or value my self-care at that time. And so I ended up being diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
Mm,
And that was 2008. And it was a very big hit for me as a person, as a mom, as a business owner. And I was really experiencing the shift to be able to now take care of myself and take care of my children, take care of the business, and balance that in a way that's sustainable. And I would love
mm,
for everyone to hear that, because it's really key that we take care of ourselves while we're running a
yeah.
business. And so of course, I'm not blaming myself, but I'm taking responsibility for the parts that I see that I could have done and that I now do more efficiently, even though we have our days, right?
Yeah. We all do, 100%. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that first off, but
Thank you.
that's actually very cool that you're still monetizing the blog to this day, because I was definitely in the camp of people that thought blogs are dead. There's no point in starting one. It's very cool to hear that you're still 20 years in, experiencing millions of people, 168 countries. I'm super curious, when you were first starting off, how did you first get traction? Was it just organic? Was there anything else? Walk me.
Yeah, it was definitely organic. So I think that the main thing when you are excited about something and you know that it's valuable, that it is contagious. And
Mm,
so I think that a lot of the times as entrepreneurs, our business owners and founders, we are timid about sharing our ideas and
yeah.
about sharing our products. And so that actually creates friction in the marketplace. But when you're excited and you're telling everyone, then it organically catches fire. It's like a little match, right? That you're
Mm,
going And of course, I'm not an arsonist or anything like that. It's just something that came up for me. But
Oh, don't worry.
yeah, but it's, oh my goodness, I was on fire for this because I was learning so much about myself, about the mindset, about what it meant to be a positive mom. And obviously, I'm not like the poster child of positive moms. I started out with, I have this, suicidal thoughts, and I have these dark times, and I've experienced so much adversity. How do we then turn it around when you are a mom who has experienced trauma, or anyone, right? But in my case, moms. And so I started telling everyone about these things that I was learning, and I was on fire for them. So it organically started to catch on. And I think that's one takeaway that I could share is when you have something that you know is valuable, you know it worked for you know it could work for someone else, and you are focusing on the problem that it solves, then people see that it's worth sharing with someone else. Not only they're going to come to the fold, but they're also going to share with someone else because it is true value that is added onto them. And so
Yeah,
I think that's what happened, really.
I love that. I'm super curious your thoughts on this because I talk to a lot of coaches, hundreds at this point. Have you ever thought about starting some sort of program, some sort of paid community, cohorts, anything like that?
Yeah, I already have that.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was sharing about the 2008
Yeah.
cancer. During that time, I started to consume a lot of content and learn new things. And that's when I met many of my mentors. I met Jack Canfield through The Secret. I actually just got an interview in his TV show. Yeah, and he's been my mentor for many years. We're very good friends. As a matter of fact, let me show you something. When my daughters were 9 and 10, they
Yeah.
published a book. They got a book publisher.
Aw,
Mhm. Jack was one of the people who endorsed their book.
that's awesome.
And they are 21 and 22 now. But I met many of my mentors, and one time I went to this movie called Beyond the Secret, and I was introduced to Les Brown. And so that's why I was telling you it's a funny story, because when he was speaking, I was thinking he's talking to me and I gotta meet this man. And all of a sudden I figure out that he's going to be in a conference in Las Vegas. I go to this conference last minute, 3,000 people, he's speaking, he's done speaking, and I realized like this is my chance to meet him. He's not gonna do anything else. He's saying goodbye. I run backstage with 6-inch heels because I'm 4'8". I'm really short.
Okay.
I'm not exaggerating. It's not a joke. I'm actually 4'8". That's the
Yeah,
truth.
I
And
believe it.
and so I'm wearing like 6-inch heels. I run backstage. The security guards, oh my gosh, who's this little child or something? I go, and by the time he catches up with me, Les Brown's, no, she's okay. She's harmless. That's cool. I give him my card. 2 weeks later, he calls me on the phone. I hang up on him because I thought it was a prank.
That's hilarious.
Yes. And so it ended up being that I redesigned his website, did a lot of content marketing strategy with him, and started being part of a contractor in his team. Because I traveled with him a lot and I'm going through cancer, and I'm thinking, this is, I'm learning so much about the mindset of positivity through Les Brown and taking it easy on my self-care and all of that stuff. He calls me on the stage in one
Wow.
of his events so that I can share my story. And that's where it started, that I'm not only behind the scenes and behind the keyboard, I now started speaking, and I thought that I would never speak in public. But that started out with Les Brown calling me to share the stage with him, share my story. And so that's another aspect of my business that I do. Now I do 35 to 45 keynotes every year. Some
Wow.
are virtual, some are live, there are hybrid components of some of those opportunities. And so what started with just writing then became speaking. Then with Jack Canfield, I was inspired to start writing books too. And Jack has written the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. That's a over $500 million and 500 million books and many more billions of dollars. And so then after that, I started my community as well. And my community is for people who want to actually become storytellers.
Mm,
With the Positive Mom blog and with our community of online community, we start out with healing our stories, healing our trauma stories. And I always say that when we transform our trauma, then we don't transmit it. That's how we become
mm,
positive moms. That doesn't mean that we become perfect moms. We make mistakes and we're triggered and we evolve and my three main goals is that we break cycles, find peace, and feel whole. And
mhm.
so I feel really happy that what I learned allowed me to then take the trauma that I've been through and transform it so that my daughters can thrive. And we'll talk more about that in a moment and give you a little bit of a background on that. But the thing is that not only became this online place where I share information, now I'm speaking all over the world. My biggest moment was probably speaking at the United Nations. I've
Awesome.
also done 5 TEDx talks, and last year I spoke to 700,000 people in India.
Wow.
It
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was mind blowing. And so my books also, then I've written many books. I also help people write their own books. So in my community, they become storytellers and they either learn how to do their own TED Talk, how to do their book, or they participate in one of my book series called The Gifts of Pain as a contributing author to that. So my community is amazing. I'm there every day helping people
Yeah.
relate their
And
story and take
yeah,
it to the next level.
how does that work? Is that like a monthly subscription? Is that like a one-time fee and people have 3 months, 6 months, 12? Walk me through that.
Yeah, so mine is a yearly subscription
Okay.
and there are different tiers. So I have my storytellers who want to definitely learn to write their story and share it in with audiences in whatever audiences they are. It could be their corporate team, it could be the neighbors, or it could be the
Yeah.
world. And then we have the storypreneurs, right?
Okay.
So it's how do you build your brand as a
Mm,
storyteller, and how do you bring your story to the world as a speaker? And then you have your story marketers, which is how do you then take your story and basically turn it into multiple streams of income. So
mm,
that's the pathway of the community is
okay.
story to streams.
Got it. I love that. And is this something that people just go online and sign up for, or is this like a sales call? How does that work?
Yeah, people go online and sign up for it. I absolutely attract the most amazing people and we end up working together. So I don't, I know that we're all salespeople. We're selling right now. We're selling ideas, we're selling concepts, we're selling products, we're selling
Yeah.
everything, but I don't have a formal sales call with anyone. It is more an attraction-based business in which I definitely know I have value to give
Yeah.
and people perceive it. And it's mostly through my speaking engagements and through people referring others to the community
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just go online and they sign up and then they pay there. They don't
Yeah.
have to hop on a call. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm sure the model today is people get on a
Yeah.
call, they
Yeah.
buy something that's high
Yeah.
ticket.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing that model and maybe implementing something a little bit more high ticket?
I have high ticket offers, and I don't consider that because one thing, that I'm all about, it's about transparency. It's one of my, if you go to my website, you're gonna see that truth and transparency, one of my core values. And I think that this is important for everyone to hear. Being clear on your core values allows you to have maybe even a different model from everyone else because you know exactly what you're called to do. So for me, I understand that model. I think it works brilliantly to
Yeah.
get on a call and to do a price reveal and to do all of that. It works. And that's great. But for me, I want to be transparent and tell people exactly what it is. And I want to work with people who are excited to pay that amount and get on the boat with me because they know it's worth it. I am not on the business of convincing anyone to work
Mm,
with me. And I'm very clear about working with people who already know and have a hunger to work with me because they know what it's going to look like for them and that they value investing in themselves. Yes, definitely I answer questions. People have questions sometimes. So what does this look like? Because it wasn't very clear. We have different learning styles and sometimes questions arise from that, but I don't really consider that model that it is that model is a fit for me because I want people to know the investment upfront. I want them to come to the conclusion on their own, whether that investment is possible for them. And that means doing whatever it takes to make that investment.
yeah. I appreciate that perspective. You're right, it's very different than how people run it today.
Yeah.
But both can work, and
Yeah,
both do work. So
absolutely. Both work perfectly. Yeah.
I'm curious, when you think of the future and you think about, let's say, the next 2 years, what does success look like for you personally and professionally?
Wow. Okay, so I have four different people in my life. My daughters so obviously that's first. I want to have a thriving relationship with all of them as usual and that they're happy and healthy. That's the first thing that I thought about. And with my extended family. So success looks like being able to go to my country anytime I want to visit my dad and having time and energy to do the things that I love to do and to take care of myself and be madly in love with myself and definitely to have peace of mind. So that's the first thing. In the business arena, I am working on a book right now called Trauma Informed Positivity. Yes. And that book I want to publish traditionally.
Okay,
In 2 years, I would say I would have a book deal
nice.
and that the book would be published and become a New York Times bestseller. And the reason I really want that is because that is the message that I feel I was born to share. And
Mm,
yeah, I think that in our society, in that I've been doing this on the blog for the past 20 years, but in our society, we think about positivity as something that you push on people so that they change their mind about the pain they're feeling, rather than allowing them the space to process that pain.
mm,
And so I always say, when someone's in deep pain, don't be positive, be present. And when you're present, that person is going to be positive.
wow. Wow. I like that a lot. Sorry, I'm just writing that down. You said when someone's in deep pain,
Don't
be,
be positive,
yep,
be
don't be
present.
positive. Have you ever heard the idea of toxic positivity?
Absolutely. This is the antidote for that
Yeah.
because toxic, it's toxic because it doesn't is not trauma informed. So trauma informed, what that means is that you understand that person's experiencing trauma or that has experienced trauma, and you come to it with a sensitive lens. And I'll tell you how I learned that. I was 19 years old. This was 1996. So that was a long time ago. You were probably not born yet. And I was a young girl full of dreams, going to school in the capital of the Dominican Republic, and very happy about the success that I achieved through being bilingual and being a geek. And all of a sudden I board this car. I thought it was a public transportation car, and rather than a public transportation car is someone who kidnaps me, assaults me, beats me up almost to death with a baseball bat, and told me the most horrible things I've ever heard. And it was the most horrible experience of my life. And this is coming from someone who was very abused as a child. And I thought I had escaped that, but now I was experiencing it again. And I was able to escape, thankfully, this horrific experience. And when I came out of this situation, I remember encountering a woman at a gas station. I was pretty much half naked or mostly naked, had blood all over myself, and managed to get to this place. And she just hugged me.
Wow.
And she had a very fancy dress, and I was getting blood all over her. And I just felt so much shame. But that all of that this it just dissipated completely because she hugged me so tight, and I had never been treated with that motherly tenderness in my life and with so much reverence and love. I remember just feeling seen, safe, and supported. And that didn't last long. And I don't know her name. I never saw her again. Then the police came, the paramedics came, and I was thrown into this world of being in the hospital, and people treated me like they didn't treat me, they weren't trauma informed. And they
Mm,
say things to me like, stop whining, at least you survived. Or they would say to me, don't worry, girl, it's all good, you're not pregnant. Or they would be like all of these things. Let's celebrate because you don't have an STD. So things like that, that we're like, I don't want to celebrate, and it's not all good. And people would say, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you make you stronger.
mm,
Or in 5 years, you're gonna overcome this and you're gonna be grateful that it happened. Or
mm.
everything happens for a reason. So everybody was looking for this silver lining and motivating me. I know where they were coming from. They didn't want to see me in pain, but the reality is that I was in pain, and that the more they said these things to me, the more I felt alone and like I wanted to die. And we do that to the people that we love.
Yeah.
I remember when my firstborn was like about 2 years old, and she came to me and she's crying. She scrapes her knee, and I'm like, it's okay. And then I hear myself and I'm like, oh my goodness, no, it's not okay. I know you're in pain. Come cry with mama.
Oh, yeah.
And then I hold her like the woman at the gas station holds me. Hold them and hold your tongue.
That's so powerful. I love that so much because I've definitely been that guy that would say everything happens for a reason. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You're going to be grateful for this. Obviously, it's not to the extent of the situation that you had, but
Mm.
I like that a lot. You're making me think about operating in a different way, and
On
appreciate that.
purpose.
And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
didn't know I was going to be feeling like this. Good call. What are you doing to me right now?
Oh,
No, it's all good. It's all good.
thank you. Yeah. So to just close that loop, 6 months later, so I go to court, get invalidation and gaslighting like you wouldn't believe, because it's, oh, why did you smile when you got in the car, and why was your tank top so bright pink, and just things like that, because people try to make it seem like you deserved it. And it turned out that he was a very prominent person who was doing this to little girls. And I told you I'm 4'8", so I definitely didn't look 19, and I wasn't a minor by the law's terms. Turns out that there was more to the story, and that going to court was so demoralizing and traumatizing every single time. Today, I work with a lot of judges, attorneys, people in the medical care, people who work with survivors all the time. But 6 months after this happened, so I escaped the kidnapper. And then 6 months later, I'm trying to already restart my life, go back to school, do, reintegrate to my normal life and see the light of day and not hide anymore and pursue my goals again. My brother and I, the same brother who saw the magazine with me, I call him my fairy godbrother. And he and I are going home in the capital. He lived with me at that time. He was 17 and starting school. And all of a sudden we ask for a ride, and with my friend, we catch a ride with her and her boyfriend, and a motorcycle swerves in front of us. The car does three flips, falls on top of me.
The car.
The car, yeah. I was in
Okay.
the back seat with him, with my brother.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they were ejected from the car somehow, but the car fell on top of me. They take me in an ambulance to the closest hospital, the ER. They say she's done. Declared me dead on arrival. Then my brother is begging. They do electrocardioversion and do all of these things. They revive me. I'm in a coma for 8 days.
Wow.
And that's when I understood trauma-informed positivity and validation and invalidation. So what I say is that in the midst of pain, motivation kills and
Mm,
validation heals.
mm.
Because I'm dead or I'm in coma, I see my body laying on that hospital cot. I have an oxygen mask and 19 broken bones and brain injuries and all of that. And I see my body, and people are coming in and out of the room. And the people who were motivating me when I was raped and kidnapped and all of that are now breaking down crying,
Wow.
because we honor in our society, we honor physical injury. We honor physical injury. If you have a broken arm, they might say, okay, don't come into work. But if you have a trauma relapse and you're triggered, you have to come into work and perform like you're okay. So we honor that. And so I see these people saying things and thinking things. I could actually read their mind and feel their feelings. And they're like, oh, poor girl, she's been through so much. This is so unfair. I hope she gets better. And so I feel this compassion. And so when they're motivating me, I want to die. When
Mm.
actually crying with me and validating that it's true that life has been hard for me, now I want to live.
Wow. That's powerful. That is so powerful. In the midst of pain, motivation kills and validation heals.
Yeah. And
When is,
science tells us that.
yeah, the society, yeah. When does your book come out?
So I'm in the midst of writing it right now.
Okay,
And
can I get an early copy, please?
yes,
Or
absolutely.
give me the rough draft. No, I'm joking, but
Absolutely, yes. I'm working with my agent, and so I don't know when it will come out, but that's what success looks like, is everyone getting a copy of this book,
yeah.
because I feel that we do that in our everyday life without even knowing it. And one of my TED Talks was about how we invalidate teenagers so much. Oh my goodness.
How-
Especially when the parent has been through a lot.
Yeah.
So,
So, I'm sorry, go for it.
yeah, no, I think you got it. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's if you've been through a lot and then you see them complaining about something that to you this is nothing. So what are you
Yes.
complaining about?
Yes, you got it. And being a teen is so hard because you are finding out who you are, but then you have pressure from your parents, pressure from the school, pressure from your friends, pressure maybe from a significant other, pressure to figure out what college you want to be, what major you want to go into. Do you like sports or theater? Is that a high paying career? There is so much expectation. And I have an 11-year-old now, but my first two already went through this. But it's if I'm expecting Eliana, she's 11. And when she's 12 and a half, let's pretend. And then in 6 months, I pretend for her to have it all figured out because she's 13 now. Or
Yeah.
someone is 17 and then now they're 18 that they need to have it
Yeah.
all figured out. There's no compassion and there's no like space whatsoever for that person to not be okay. So
Mhm.
you have it easy. You have air conditioner. Like I would probably say something like that if I weren't trauma informed, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have air conditioner or warm water in my shower, but that doesn't invalidate that my daughter may have anxiety about something.
Yeah. It's different. It's very
Yeah,
yeah. And that's all they know too. So it's like we can't blame them for growing up in a particular, they didn't even choose this.
exactly. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Yes. Keep talking.
Yeah. No, I love this stuff so much. And you make me think of my brothers, you make me think of my cousins, and just the way that, because I've done that with them for sure. Now they're like 20 now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're a man. What's going on? Figure it out. And it's to a certain extent, I think it helps, but I also think it doesn't help in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's a place for that. I wear Nikes, so it's not anything about their brand, but it's like this just do it mentality. And if it were that easy, then everybody would just do it. But nobody asks, why can't you do it? What
Yeah.
is blocking you and how can I help? And do you even want help? Because
Yeah.
we are in a society, we're being trained and conditioned to fix things. Oh, you're crying. Let me hand you a tissue. Maybe you don't want a tissue. Maybe you want to just feel it because for you it's hard to cry and you're finally crying and cleansing that out of your system. Why do
Yeah.
I need to fix it with a tissue when what I need to know to be maybe is present for you and sit with you in the discomfort?
Yeah.
And so we see those motivational quotes, figure it out. You have either desire or excuses, and all of this shame, I call it motivational shame, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Be-
100%.
yeah, and it's
I
no, there's something underlying there. And what if I just become human and listen to you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so powerful. I love what you're saying. Obviously, the levels of energy, the map of consciousness by
Yeah.
Dr. David R. Hawkins.
Yes.
I think a lot of people it's interesting because desire is actually lower than he says anything that's 200 or above is constructive to life. Anything that's below can be destructive to life, meaning it can literally make you ill or it can make you well depending on the state of consciousness that you're in. Desire is below 200. I think it's like 125. And that was a big pivotal moment for me is to
Mm,
realize that a lot of the things that you see online, they're operating at below 200. They're operating at the level of fear, at the level of shame, apathy, anger, desire, all of those different things. And then my understanding of this evolved when I realized you just move one step at a time. So somebody could be here, let's say they're in apathy, but then you get them angry. That's a higher level of consciousness. That's a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
That's not a bad thing. It's actually good. It's okay, let's make them angry. It's moving them up in some way.
yeah.
And another book of his, Letting Go, When you were speaking, it made me think of that because a big point of emotional maturity in my life as I was growing up is realizing that you don't need to bottle feelings, if anything, that is counterintuitive or counterproductive, I should say. And
Yes.
it's actually allowing yourself the space to feel it, fully feel it. Whether that's you're sad, let yourself cry. If you're angry, I'll go on a drive and I'll just scream sometimes. Back in the day, meaning yesterday. No, I'm joking. But it's allowing yourself the space to feel that. And when you do, it's weird because it actually passes pretty,
Yeah, actually,
doesn't
neuroanatomy tells us that our emotions only last about 90 seconds.
interesting. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
90 seconds. I actually created a technology or a practice called dating your pain that I tell everyone to do every single day. That's part of my morning routine is the to-be list goes after this. And so the dating your pain is 2 minutes because it's 90 seconds of feeling that emotion that we suppressed or you access a memory. I call it see, sense, and say. See, sense, say.
Mm,
The C is recalling that emotion, that memory, that event that happened. Maybe it was my cousin told me I look fat. I don't know, because that's something that happened a lot when I was a child. That exact thing. And so maybe I think about that and maybe I see her doing it and then I feel it in my stomach. I sense and I feel it right
right.
now in my stomach. And then I touch that part of my body. And in the third person, I said, Elena, you're beautiful. It hurt you when she said that. And it's okay because I would be hurt too.
Mhm.
That's their normal reaction.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it to yourself. It hurt when she did it to you. And it's valid. That pain is valid. I love you. So it's 90 seconds
Yeah.
of experiencing the emotion and 30 seconds of validating the pain.
That's powerful. And I like that you were reframing it in your mind too. It's okay. That's fine. You're beautiful. So you're flipping it to the what you actually want to be feeling.
Yeah, but it's unconsciously because you're accessing your observer self.
Mm,
You're accessing your higher self. When you speak in the third person, you
mm.
create psychological distance from,
Interesting.
yeah, from that person, from that little girl that I saw that was called ugly and fat all the time. And I'm being that wiser part of myself. And there have been so many studies. There's a book named Chat by the title Chatter that talks a lot about this because when you also journal in the third person, you have access to a higher self that's a higher level of wisdom and has access to more of a perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elena, this was amazing. This was amazing. Normally these go on for 30 minutes. I think we're almost at an hour right now.
Oh my gosh.
No, I love that. I guess what thepositivemom.com, is there what else do you want to plug? Where should people go to hear more of what you have to say, to grab your books? Walk me through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have an Amazon page, so search for Elena Fernandez on Amazon. But if you go to thepositivemom.com/EF, like Elena Fernandez. Then I
Mhm.
have compiled all of my social media links are there, all of my Amazon page, and also the giftsofpain.com because that's where anyone who wants to share their story, they can get it there. And also the community, the transformational
Yeah.
storytellers community, for anyone who wants to move and share their story, whether you're a mom or not, but definitely those adverse childhood experiences is what really touches my heart, because when we heal motherhood, then we transform our pain, we stop transmitting it, and we transcend it so that we can thrive.
Mm, powerful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Any final words before we wrap up?
I just want to say thank you so much for the space that you're creating for us to share our experiences, for everyone to learn. This is so powerful, and I think that you're a gift and that you're really a pioneer in the way that in which you do this, because I experienced it behind the scenes. And I exhort everyone to continue listening to your show and also to contribute, to share it to someone else. And anyone you find anywhere, anytime you find something valuable like the Founders Future podcast, share it with someone else, because it's a gift to access not only knowledge but wisdom. Now, knowledge can be found everywhere, but
Yeah.
wisdom is found with the people who have lived experience.
I love that. You are a wealth of wisdom.
Thank
This is awesome. So that wraps up another insightful, amazing episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, go to thepositivemom.com. You can also go to thepositivemom.com/EF for all of Elena's pages. And is there a waiting list for the book or anything like that, or no?
No,
Okay,
yeah,
maybe
stay tuned.
I
Maybe
would.
I'll create it.
If you do create it, I will literally be the first, like the waiting list. I would love to be one of the first ones to be informed because I want to know as soon as it comes out and be one of the very first people that.
Okay, I will create it and send it to you.
Okay, perfect.
All
Thank
right, thank you.
you. And obviously, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future. And if you're a business owner and you want to scale your business, enhance your sales, enhance your marketing, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.